This is Sharon Phillips with the Business eBroadcast Network with another Best Practice Spotlight. Do you ever feel information overloaded or time deprived in your business or your profession? Do you construct filters or barriers to the very technologies that you use to communicate with your customers? To discuss a forward-thinking solution to this challenging quandary, we're here in San Diego, California today talking with Rudy Camacho Jr. He's the Vice President of Marketing for the eBroadcast Media Group. They're a communications firm that specializes using internet talk radio and a web-based media library to help solve problems for business professionals. Now, Rudy, can you help us understand what an eBroadcast is and what the vertical market focus really means?
Absolutely, Sharon. What we've created in a nutshell is a communication tool delivered via your computer or smartphone that in essence is a conveyance of information for a very targeted audience. What I like to consider ourselves is a funnel of corporate information where the end result pouring out is nothing but the gist.
And this type of narrowly focused content is what you maintain most business people really need.
Absolutely. What it allows people to do from a corporate standpoint is best use of their time and resource. So it's our job to gather a significant amount of information, chunk it down to its bare bones, or its most important elements, and then provide that to our end user.
You know, Rudy, I can understand and relate, but why the focus on interview talk radio and not videos like this one or other multimedia formats?
With an eBroadcast solution, we're collecting and organizing volumes of information within your industry into bite-sized manageable pieces. As an additional bonus, it's delivered in a conversational, much more than a presentational format. So there's two-way communication. We're engaging our listeners and we're encouraging them to participate. The other major advantage that jumps out to me is the access to an extensive but easy to navigate media library.
Now, Rudy, for large companies where communication is critical, couldn't a more, say, traditional campaign consisting of webinars, breakout sessions, maybe trade shows, or even white paper accomplish much of that?
For the most part, most traditional mediums are one-way communication devices. They don't encourage audience feedback, and therefore only the delivering party has the ability to dictate the topics and the flow of the so-called conversation. Our solutions, however, are multifaceted. They require our audiences, in this case your customers or your employees, to partake and contribute to the dialogue. A second value aspect is that we physically condense enormous amounts of information into manageable chunks, thus providing you far more bang for your corporate buck. You're able to hear all of the highlights from a presentation while driving to work or you're on the treadmill, rather than inquiring the expense and hassle of traveling to a conference.
Now, Rudy, what are some of the ways that you would measure the success and ROI of an eBroadcast solution for business clients?
That is a great question, and it actually reminds me of a famous quote by marketer John Wanamaker. And he said that half the money I spend on advertising is wasted. The trouble is, I don't know which half. Well, John would have greatly appreciated an eBroadcasting solution. One of our major areas of focus is analytics. We leverage digital channels by monitoring and optimizing customer data, thus improving customer engagement. We provide marketers with greater precision and a better scope of consumer knowledge, resulting in better creative ideas and less waste.
Now, finally, you mentioned the need for the searchable media library as an important element to an eBroadcasting solution from both the listener's perspective and that of the advertiser or the sponsor. Could you expand on that?
We have a saying that gets tossed around the office, and that's finding the gold. And what that consists of is that as the media library for the eBroadcast program is populated by information, our mapping engine of that media library kicks into gear. It begins to identify, select, and access valuable industry content for the user depending on their own particular industry or specific search. Those index parameters for that particular industry can be very specific, their own vernacular, their own jargon, their own particular language, depending on their industry. Finding what you need is always just 3 clicks away.
And that's our Best Practice Spotlight. Thank you to Mr. Camacho and to the eBroadcast Media Group. I'm Sharon Phillips. Thanks for joining the conversation.